So in today's video, we're going to be looking at some of the steps that we can actually take when it comes to personal healing. The reason that we're doing this today, guys, is because sometimes when we are experiencing undesirable conditions in our lives, we can then be distracted by that condition itself, as opposed to looking at why that is happening. By turning things in on ourselves and always going back to self, looking into what we're doing, looking into our own internal conditions, we can then get a grasp on what's happening outside of ourselves and potentially transform those things. Let's get into it. The last video that I did was actually about healing relationships, and I thought that it was going to be really good for us to talk about healing yourself. Reason being is because when we talk about healing relationships, one of the things that we actually have to do, the primary thing, is to always look into ourselves first. So if we go about the process of healing ourselves, going from within, if we start within, because everything that is within us gets reflected outside of us, then we're going to be in a much better position to enjoy external conditions. We're going to be in a much better position to manifest the types of conditions that we want. So I've put together a little list of the things that you can actually go through in order to embark upon or improve, strengthen your personal healing journey. So one of the first steps that we look into when it comes to going through the personal journey of healing is awareness. When we're talking about awareness, we're talking about awareness of your wounds and your triggers. Awareness about the type of thoughts that you have, the physical responses to these thoughts, what happens in your body, the emotions that are stirred up inside of you. When we develop and we look into what happens to us as individuals when it comes to our own wounds and our triggers, we can really elevate our own levels of awareness. We gain so much more knowledge when it comes to how we are, how we show up, how we respond. As relational creatures, when we're on our own, it's different when it comes to growing this type of awareness, because we don't have anything outside of us to relate to, so to speak. So that's why people are often our greatest teachers and end up reflecting back to us what it is that we need to work on. So, you might want to start a journal around this time if you're just beginning your personal healing journey, and really start to write out some of the automatic thought responses that you're having. Write out and notice what type of thing that you have happening in your body, whether you get tight, whether you get tense, whether your throat ends up feeling a little bit out of sorts. I know for myself that when I'm triggered, when somebody around me triggers a wound, generally I get a tenseness up in my throat, which tells me that I actually need to speak. It tells me that I need to talk about it all around my throat chakra. So it really lets me know that. So really consider where it shows up for you in your body. Your body is really recording everything and trying to give you a message. It's trying to tell you something. So listen to what it's telling you, and then understand and see how it plays out again and again and again through all of the different experiences that you have throughout your life. Once we've gone through the process of awareness, now we can then lean into grace and compassion for ourselves. We really need to have grace and compassion when it comes to the things that we're going through, when it comes to our wounds and our triggers. These wounds haven't just happened for no reason. They've happened for a reason. Something has happened and our bodies have logged it and our brains have logged it, and we've created a story within ourselves. And so our ego then goes into go mode, as I like to say. Your ego then tries to protect you. It tries to do its job of keeping you safe, keeping the host safe. So grace and compassion is important, because there's no point asking yourself why are you so silly? Why are you feeling this way? And having this really negative narrative with yourself, to yourself. If we're going to really engage and activate the process of personal healing, part of that process is developing a really positive, kind, compassionate narrative, a kind, compassionate narrative within yourself. You can actually really bring your ego to a place where it is a lot healthier just by going through the process of speaking kindly to yourself. So pour grace and compassion on yourself. And when you are in the process of awareness, of looking back over your life to see about this wound, seeing about this trigger, really looking into it a lot more deeply, and you may then go far back enough to see where it began. And usually these things tend to happen to us when we're in our childhoods. This is not something that we can necessarily control. This is out of our control. So grace and compassion is extremely important. Once we start to engage a little bit more in grace and compassion, and we have that a better, a healthier self-narrative, self-talk, then we can then move into acceptance and authenticity. Accept what's happened. Accept what happened to you before. Accept it even if it was ugly. Accept it even if it was really difficult. It's part of your personal story, so accept it. Accept that that's what it is for you. And then really step into authenticity. So you might even question and think to yourself, well, Sabrina, how can I accept what's happened to me? It was really, really bad. One of the best ways that I know to really accept what's happened is just to know that everything happens as it is intended to happen. What this does is it really takes it away from you. It takes it away from you having to work everything out yourself and puts it back into the universe. It puts it back out there to say that I know that this is part of my personal journey. I'm not necessarily sure what I'm supposed to learn from this at the moment, but I trust that I am going to learn something from this, even though this is hard for me right now, even though it's been hard for me. So really just accept it and then become your authentic self. And what this means is that when you begin to integrate wounds, triggers, shadow self with how you show up in the world, when you really begin to integrate these things and you step into authenticity, what it means is that if somebody asks you to do something and you really don't want to do it, you can just say no. I actually don't want to go out. I'm actually super tired and I'm taking care of myself. So no, I'm not going to come out right now. Sometimes what we end up doing as human beings is we actually end up sacrificing ourselves for someone else, sacrificing ourselves for want of connection, for want of that attachment. But what that does is that tells our inner self, it tells our child self, I can't really trust you. I can't really trust you. And so then what you do is you create a split, you create a gap. It fragments you and you. What this is all about when it comes to the healing process is bringing yourself into harmony with yourself, having a look at that shadow self and being able to harmonize with it, to understand it, to offer it grace and compassion, to offer those wounds grace and compassion, and to support them the best way that you can. So when you step into authenticity, and whether that is somebody asking you to do something and you actually really want to do it, and then you say, you know what, I'm not going to let fear stop me, I'm going to do it, you're being authentic with yourself. Or whether that's saying no when you don't want to do something, you're being authentic with yourself. And this is one of the best things that you can do when it comes to going through this beautiful process of personal healing. Once we've gone through these things, then we can then become more accountable for ourselves. When we talk about accountability, we're talking about understanding that, yes, maybe when we were younger, our parents did or didn't do something for us that we needed. Yes, maybe our caregivers weren't around in the way that we wanted. Yes, maybe we went through a really tough childhood. Maybe we did, but now we are conscious. We are conscious because we're growing in awareness. We're conscious because we are reflecting on ourselves. We're going through the process of introspection. And when we begin doing these things, we become accountable. Now we are parenting ourselves. We are parenting the inner child. We are going through the process of the inner child healing. We become our own ambassadors. So be your own ambassador in this place and be accountable for yourself. This is an empowering experience when you really step into accountability. Part of the process of being accountable for yourself is upgrading your personal resources. Now, when I say upgrading your personal resources, we're looking at things like learning and education. We're looking at potentially getting a counselor, getting a coach, getting a therapist to help you through this period of your life, to help to teach you something or to even show you blind spots, obviously, that you can't see. So we have a wealth of of resources outside of ourselves now. There's so much stuff going on social media. YouTube is fantastic when it comes to learning about healing yourself, healing traumas, healing wounds, becoming more aware of yourself and what you can do, what kind of exercises you can go through. So, begin to look into these things. You might even want to get a notepad and a pen and really listen to when certain psychologists, therapists, coaches are talking online, and taking notes and reading over these things on a daily basis so that they can become ingrained in your thought process. So that way you have something extra in your toolbox. Learning and education is extremely important at any stage of life. And as I like to say, your brain likes a bone. Give the brain a bone. Give it something to chew on. It wants something to work on. It wants something to think about. So give it something positive. So consider what you're looking at. Consider what you're reading, watching, listening to, talking about, the kind of conversations you're having. And if you can, I would definitely say get a coach. Get a coach to help you through your healing process. Get a coach to help you to see your blind spots. As I said earlier, get some therapy. There's always going to be something that someone else who's gone through this process can tell you, because they've been in the hole, so they can help you out of the hole. So once we've gone through this again of upgrading our resources, now we can go into open communication. When I'm talking about open communication, what I'm saying is you need to be able to be honest with yourself about the things that's happened, why they've happened, about the fact that now you are in control of your own life and you are in control of manifesting better conditions for yourself, a better mindset, a better internal system. So open communication can also be something that you do with the people around you in your community. Just being honest with them, just being vulnerable. I have a wound in this particular area. It really does upset me. I feel insecure with when it comes to money. I feel a little bit unsettled when it comes to that, but I'm working on it. Just being able to emotionally disclose these things, what it does is with the emotional body is it kind of really just helps to relieve. It takes some of that poison out. That's what this is about. This is about us having to regularly detoxify ourselves. So definitely have someone that you can talk to when it comes to open communication, someone that you can be safe, feel safe with, and be vulnerable with. It will really help you on your journey of personal healing. Then we move into commitment to practice. Now, everything that we've been talking about here, guys, when it comes to awareness, when it comes to having grace and compassion, accepting yourself and being authentic, if these are new states that you're entering into, it's going to take some practice. So you have to really commit to this practice. You have to commit to being this on a daily basis. You do it and be it on a daily basis. We also have to introduce some different practices to our lives so that we can regulate our emotional bodies. When I'm talking about regulating the emotional body, I'm talking about going through the meditative processes, being curious about yourself and what you're seeing, getting outside, getting into nature, blessing yourself, blessing the earth, blessing the world. You might want to get into spirituality. You might want to, some people need to look into religion, for example. They need something else that they can lean on outside of themselves. Use whatever it is that you need to use, as long as it's in a positive way. You might need to go to that gym every single day, or do your yoga and your stretches to manage all of that, as I said, that's going on in your nervous system. This is about you learning how to regulate yourself the best way that you can. Regulate that emotional body so that way you can allow your mental processes to be clear. We have to give ourselves the best starts. We have to make sure that we enter into deeper levels of self-care with ourselves. If that's prayer, if that's meditation, if that's breath work, do it. Whatever it takes, do it. See your therapist on a regular basis. Have your coaching sessions. Do your learning. Commit to the process. This is really, really important. And lastly, enjoy your life. This is your experience as who you are right now. Enjoy it to the fullest, the best way that you can. enter into places of stillness so that you can really allow yourself to be curious about what you're seeing, curious about what you're feeling. When you're eating, slow down. When you're smelling something beautiful, slow down. Allow yourself to see the beauty in the world. Find the gold in everything in your life. Be in a place of gratitude as much as you can. Everything that you've gone through, all of the challenges, all of the difficulties that you've gone through may have been absolutely horrific. Some people go through horrific things, but I guarantee there is something that you can learn out of that process. It's something that you can take out of it if only you choose to plant that in your field of consciousness. If you can plant that idea that everything that I go through somehow is going to better me or better humanity, you're gonna find the gold in your story. So enjoy your life the best way that you can. And remember, the path to healing is a path. It's a winding road. Sometimes it's going to take us up, sometimes it's going to take us down, and all around, be committed to yourself because you deserve it. Now, my loves, my name is Sabrina Naayantara. I am a holistic mindset coach. I trust that this has helped one of you, more of you, many of you. For any of you that need any help or an assistance when it comes to going through personal healing and developing yourself, hit me up. This is what I do. Either way, like, share, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys really soon. Peace.